Court. All right. Hey, Venus. I see a bunch of people. Hi, Andrea. This is fun to see everyone joining. And feel free, there's a bunch of us will have our cameras on, but I also know it's the lunch hour, so feel free to turn your camera off if that's more convenient for you. Um, it's a lunch hour, at least on the East Coast where we are. And we're going to give everyone about 2 minutes to join. But if you're just joining, if you look at the bottom of your screen and you see polls and quizzes, we would love for you to take a minute to fill out the two questions there. We are just interested in learning more about who's joining this webinar and if it is churches that are, what size churches are joining and how they typically staff their children's ministry. So it would be helpful if you don't mind taking just a second to fill that out as we wait for more people to join. There were just I think about 124, 125 people who registered. So we were excited to see so many people kind of share an interest and get to hear about what Josh is going to share. So we have just another minute. Um, And we are going to record this meeting so that we can share it with anyone who's unable to make it today. So we'll share the recording um, with anyone who registered and wasn't able to attend. Okay, it is 12:02, and I am actively hearing more people join. So maybe I'll give it just one more minute because there are a lot of little doorbells happening right now. Um, let's see. Let's see how many. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started just because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And I'll start just by introducing myself. I'm Jody Stephenson. I'm the founder and CEO of SitterTree. And I have volunteered in church nurseries for more than 35 years now. And I can be found snuggling babies in the infant room of my own church about once a month. I love doing it, and I know that it's a gift to parents as well. So, Sitter Tree supports children's ministries across the US just to make sure that you have the extra hands you need to minister to families and children and even volunteers in your congregation. So we help connect churches with background check childcare providers for Sunday morning services, Wednesday evening, Easter, staff meetings, PMOs, Momco, any place when you need childcare. SitterTree wants to help you connect with background check childcare providers in your area. So today I want to introduce Josh Zello, who is pastor of family ministries at Redemption City Church in Baltimore, Maryland. And Josh has been serving children and families for more than 17 years. He also coaches church plant children's ministry directors, and he's founder of JesusLovesPreschoolers.com. So, in short, he's passionate about ministering to children. So, I enjoyed getting to know Josh and hearing from him. I think you will as well. And he's going to share about how Redemption City not only ministers to children in the congregation, but also to more than 70 volunteers who serve in their children's ministry. So, to get started, Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to hearing what you've learned over your 17 years of ministry. And I wondered if you could start by just providing us a quick overview of your congregation and what it looks like to have a win for your kids' team.
Yeah, so we are an 8-year-old church plant. We are in a very urban place. So started out with most of our church walking here.
Hmm.
So even to this day, probably half of our church walks here, which is cool. Yeah, so we run about 475 on a Sunday, and we have about 100 kids. It's been a while being part of that growth. So my first week here, I joined in 2022, and my first week here, we had 17 kids. So in that short time span, going from 17 kids to up to 120 kids, it's been a wild ride, and it's been really cool to get to be um, a part of trying to grow a team to serve those kids well. And the challenge of there's just one of me. So we have
Mhm.
one staff, we have about 70 volunteers, we have about 100 kids, um, and we're growing fast to the point that we're building a shopping right now. So it's been cool to be part of that. And then as I say that too, I know that in this room, there's those of you from big churches and small, and I've been part of those. So my first church I served at was a church like 15,000, and then went and served at a church of 1,500, and now here. So
Mhm.
I've gotten to kind of see every stage and get to be part of those and kind of move down in size over the years too, which has been fun.
Mhm. Thanks for saying that too, because SitterTree works with churches of all sizes as well. But we've seen that there are some common trends of challenges, and one of them being the purpose of this webinar is how do you keep calling on those volunteers without burning them out? So you mentioned you're a staff team of one and you have 70 volunteers. So I'd love for you also to just talk about how do you structure that in a way that you are not burning them out, but also I think it goes without saying that one person can't manage 70.
No, not well.
Yeah.
And most of us try. I mean, I've tried, and it's really, really hard. And yeah, so first off, I think through it like this, we need to build a team, appreciate that team, and resource that team. So I've kind of thought through it structurally of there's no way that I can minister to 70 really well. But what I can do is find a smaller core team, a leadership team, minister to them really well, walk alongside them really closely, and equip them to then resource down, right? It's
Mhm.
the Ephesians 4 model there. I'm going to equip saints. So, so for us, I thought through, okay, what is everything that I do within City Kids? I started this in 2022 when we had just 20 kids and thought, okay, let me kind of think through everything and list that out. And then sort that and think through, okay, what is it that just I can do? And then what is it that it would be best for me to pass that on?
And did you jump from like, how many volunteers did you start taking on at a time in that core leadership team?
Yeah, so I think a lot of you can probably resonate with this, but when I first joined, most of my volunteer team quit because we're a young church plant, and they had said the church said, "Hey, come volunteer, serve with the kids. We're gonna hire somebody soon who's gonna come in and take care of them." So most of the team felt like they said yes just until I got here.
Mhm.
I got here, most of my team left. So then I built up, okay, I need the general serve team who's going to be in place in classrooms each week to serve kids. But then I need to start to think through how can I share this load. So the first thing that I thought through is we really need to improve kids' hospitality. So I looked around and said, okay, who's really good at that? Who can I tap and say, hey, I want you to join this leadership team that I'm going to start to build from scratch. And it was just one. It was just me and her for a long time. And then we added two, and then we added three. And now we're up to nine. And we didn't get there overnight. But as that team has grown, City Kids can do more because as long as it's just me, I'm going to burn out. And then I'm going to lead a team that burns out. And once again, as long as it's just me, City Kids can just be as big as me. And I'm like 132 pounds. So
Yeah.
that's not good. City Kids needs to expand beyond that. So I would encourage you, it can be really, it can feel like a lot to hear, okay, Josh, you have a team of nine that you treat like staff, even though it's just you on staff. There's nine that you treat like staff. Um, I can't get there. Find your one. Start there. What's
Mhm.
one big task that you do every week that you can then pass off to somebody else who, frankly, might be better at it than you?
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't do city kids scheduling. When I do, it doesn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
I have schedulers who are really, really good at administratively, gifted there. They love it. They excel there, and they have built workflows so that we can then schedule teams. And then I spend my time coaching them and ministering to them.
You know, something I found that was interesting when we spoke before this call was I was asking, do you do it based on the number of children, like the congregation size? How do you decide when to add one more person to your team? So I'd love for you to share kind of what you had shared with me about the capacity, because I think that the way you were thinking about that was really helpful as well.
Yeah, I didn't think through, okay, when we get to 30 kids, I need to have three on this leadership team, or when we get to 50 kids, I should have five. No, I thought through task and not kids.
Hmm.
So, what is the workload of city kids, and what can I pass off so that that can expand without me having to stretch and without my team having to stretch?
And how have you gone about clarifying what they're doing as you bring them on? And I know that this was another really important piece of the puzzle for you in just making sure everyone was in the right seat and had clarity around what their responsibilities were.
Yeah, clarity is kindness, right? I'm going through this right now. My scheduler lead, she's stepping back because she's being sent out with a church plant. And so she's stepping off at the City Kids team. And I need to fill that role. So I have a one-page job role description for every single um, individual that is on that leadership team. And it states, hey, here's how much time per week this takes. Here's what a win is. Here's the win statement.
Hmm.
Um, and then here's who would be perfect for this role. And here's all of the things that you need to do and be. So my thought is I'm going to be really, really clear up front. And if this role is not for you, you can see it on that page. And if this role is for you, you can see it there too. And then every year, I have those who are in those roles look back on that one page and keep that up to date so that if that job has changed, they can change that.
And I know some of you may be wondering, but Josh has graciously offered to share all of those one-page job descriptions. So we will be sending you a link to a Google Drive folder where you can access those and make them your own. It's a tremendous resource. So I appreciate, Josh, that you've been willing to share the hard work that you've already put in.
Yeah.
Um, Also, so as that team grows, how do you go about both? I want to shift into kind of both communication, but then also really caring for them and caring for your leadership team, as well as, having that transfer to the volunteers.
Yeah, so the leadership team, I think of that as that's like my inner circle. So I want to be really close with that team. I want that team to feel like they can trust me, they can speak up, they can push back. I want them to feel comfortable with me. So I spend a lot of time with that team. The leadership team is a really big ask. And the funny thing is, when we talk about burning out, um, I found when I treat those nine like staff, they're kind of fueled by that and they step up and they love it and
Hmm.
they've stuck around. I've not had anybody on that team, even though they're doing more than the general volunteer team, I've not had anybody on that team burn out.
Hmm.
And part of that is because of the structures that we have that are in place. Part of that is because I treat them like staff. There's trust. They have keys. They have my church credit card and their Apple Pay. Like
Hmm.
there's an immense level of trust here. And they're kind of fueled by that. And then I don't just make the ask big, but I give them a lot too. So for us, that looks like monthly, there's a City Kids leadership team meeting. And I try to make it where it's a joy, where they look forward to it. So we take turns on who's going to cook, and we eat, and we talk, and we pray for every child by name.
Hmm.
And then we meet and we're going through kids' ministry books and we're chatting through, hey, what are we going to do about VBS this week? Or what are we going to do about the Easter egg hunt coming up soon? And then I let them really speak into those things so that they can then lead out and they can run with it.
Hmm.
And then I ask them every month to set up a one-on-one time with me too, so that I can coach them, minister to them, and pour into them. And then for the general team, so if you're not part of that nine, but let's say you serve twice a month in City Kids and you teach fours. So what that would look like is every single week on Thursday, you're going to get a short video from me called Take Three.
Hmm.
And I'm going to be resourcing you. Some weeks that's going to look like, hey, I read this book and this thing really encouraged me, so I'm going to read you that page. That could look like, here's a verse as to why what you do is a really big deal. That could look like, I'm going to train you in this very small way for 3 minutes right here. And then quarterly, we have an in-person quarterly train. And that's a huge meal. I have childcare provided through SitterTree.
Yay.
And that's a cool chance to say, okay, if there's going to be a world where all of the City Kids team is in one room being trained, well, who takes care of the kids? SitterTree's been huge there.
Hmm.
Um, and then every week too, I'm sending out snail mail. So I think through, hey, who on the team, one or two, who really stepped up? Maybe they filled in a last minute gap when somebody got sick Saturday night. And I'm going to send them a handwritten card saying, hey, without you, we would have not had a twos room this week. There's kids who had care because you stepped up, and thank you.
So one thing that, as just as a church volunteer, I will say my own church, our neighborhood groups, we get an email every Sunday that is kind of the discussion questions, and the consistency and timing of those email communications are so important for me to kind of know where I'm tracking. So I really appreciate that you're saying that you're doing things consistently and it's that communication is helpful. I also want to acknowledge that you are doing like in our discussions and just the more that I've learned about your ministry, you are have a very well structured, built out team and kind of practices and rhythms that, it might be that churches, that smaller churches or churches who are just starting out in this are just taking one step at a time. And I want to kind of release everyone from feeling like, oh my goodness, that there's so much in place because I love that you started with one volunteer and it was
Yeah,
just, it's a slow build. But for sustainability, it is a slow build of continuing to invest in ways that are important, where even saying that you get together and pray for the children, like it's not just we've got to do this big task, but it's, more it's caring for people along the way so that they don't burn out.
it sure is.
You also mentioned some other use like pouring into your volunteers, other ways that you do that. And I would love for you to kind of share, and even like the resource bag that you were sharing
Yeah.
earlier, like kind of give some ideas around that as well. But I thought you had some creative ways of thinking.
Yeah, so one more piece on the appreciation front. We have a favorite things form, which those of you who have worked with kids, you've probably seen that, the little one-page sheet that you put like, I like to drink this, I like to eat this, my anniversary is this date. I have digitized that. So we have a favorite things form that when you join the team, I send you that. And
Mhm.
then every week I look at my serving team and say, okay, who am I going to get a treat for this week? And a root beer waiting in the fours room for that volunteer can really bless them and turn their whole day around.
Okay, so I also want to share with the participants that Josh has also volunteered to share his favorite Google form, as well as an example from his Take Three video he mentioned. Again, just great ideas that they don't have to be overproduced, but you could use something he's done, or you could do something similar
Yeah.
yourself. So great resources. I do want to leave time for Q&A, so I wanted to just also talk about outside resources that you use.
Can I shove that bag real quick
Yeah,
and
oh
then we go
yeah,
there?
sorry, yeah, please do.
Um, so we just started this. This is a City Kids tote bag. And once again, you don't have to start out this fancy with a brand and it could just be a gift bag. But when you join this team, I want it to be conveyed, hey, this is a big deal. You're joining a thing that is bigger than you. And I'm going to give them this bag. There's going to be a handwritten card from me saying, hey, welcome to the team. There's going to be a City Kids sticker there. There's going to be a volunteer book. There's going to be a little City Kids notebook. So my goal here is I want them to feel just overwhelmed with love and like they're being stepped onto a team. They're being fed into a team that is doing really big work, really great work, and they get to be part of that.
Thanks, Josh. And I love the idea of like being able to use just a regular gift bag too.
Yeah.
But I know, I mean, I would feel special in joining a team if I came on and, there's those things waiting for me. Before you jump into your final portion about just resources that you use, I did want to remind anyone who joined during the process, if you haven't had a chance, click the polls and quizzes or polls and surveys button at the bottom of your screen because we just love to know what types of churches are joining these webinars so we know what types of resources we can provide in the future. So Josh, if you would, I would love for you to just kind of wrap up with any like the external resources and how you said team training, like you'll use things like SitterTree for team training. Um, and then you had mentioned something about for that I wanted to hit on is more highly attended when you can provide spaces for your teams. And how do you get them to participate in receiving the training that you're offering?
Yeah, so as far as like outside resources go, SitterTree, like you said, has been huge, and that's not just a plug because I'm here, but I went by the booth and just went on and on about it at the Kids Matter Con or in the Facebook groups because it has been huge for us to say, okay, we have these high church events. Um, I had a challenge a couple years back that we had these like all hands on deck church events or a prayer ministry or a women's ministry wants to do a brunch. So who's going to take care of the kids? If I ask my team to step up, then I'm going to have folks that can't go to that event now because they're caring for kids.
Hmm.
Or what I found was, hey, when we do City Kids quarterly training, I can't have childcare
Yeah.
because everybody who would do childcare is in that room. So we would just have the kids like running around freely while I try to train. And it wasn't great. And what we found is that people stopped coming. So now I've stepped back and said, okay, I'm going to give childcare there, and then I'm going to make these times just irresistible. There's going to be snacks. I'm going to pour into them. I'm going to make it to where word spreads among those 70. You don't want to miss these.
Well, I want to give you just an appreciation because in our conversations, Josh also said that when he has external resources, whether it's from SitterTree or wherever he's getting extra people, if he is giving mugs to his team or whatever it is, he is giving it to those people stepping inside to help them out also. And that for me just speaks so much about your congregation that it's like you're ministering to families, to children, to volunteers, even to those who are being paid to help out in your children's ministry. Um, so we're about at time. So again, I do want to leave time for FAQs, or FAQs, what I'm saying. I want to leave time for questions and answers. So if anyone does have a question for Josh, again, we are going to be sharing a number of the resources that he's mentioned, but will you just lift your hand up and I think there's a raise your hand, or you can just unmute yourself and just ask a question. And Josh, I'm sure would be happy to answer. Jennifer, I see your hand. Yeah.
Um, my problem with getting volunteers is it seems like people's once people become empty nesters, they no longer want to help in children's ministry. They're like, I've done that, I'm moving on. But they're the ones that we need. So what would you say to them to encourage them to come back, come back to the children?
I would think through how can I help them see that they're in a unique role that they can really serve kids in a unique way. So I think about we have a form on our site that moms and dads, families can let us know when their kids have like an external event. So let's say that they have a t-ball game. Um, an empty nester can go to that game. I might have a hard time because I have a 5-year-old child. They don't. They can show up Saturday to that game when I can't. What I found too is we have one woman, Miss Karen. She's so sweet, but she's in that same boat. And she said, "Hey, I don't think now's the right time for me to serve with kids." I said, "There's so many ways that you can serve city kids without actually being with kids." So she actually comes in Thursdays and she makes sure our rooms are set. She's setting up snacks. She's putting out allergy signs. I walk in and the snacks all set up. I haven't ordered snacks in 3 years. It's great. And Karen loves that. And she's
Mm,
found that she's getting to partner with the city kids in that unique way. And then she's still sitting in those quarterly trainings. She's still getting those take threes. And she feels like she's part of the team. And I think over the years, I'm willing to bet that we're going to start to see her plug in
mm,
because she's not going to want to be on these sidelines. She's
mm.
going to want to plug in.
Josh, we had a great question from Megan. She said, what would you say to teams who are already burned out? How do
Yeah,
you come back from that?
yeah. Acknowledging it is huge. So I would really have, hey, there's a time when we're going to, as much as we can, all be in the same place and space. And let's just say the hard part out loud that, hey, we have been running really hard. We've been doing a lot. We've been pouring out a lot. And here's some ways that we're going to try to get back on the right path.
Mm,
And think through, hey, what's one or two things right away that I can show, hey, I love you and I'm for you, and I care more about you than what you can do for us. I say that phrase a lot. I care more about you than what you can do for us. What are some ways that I can show them that right away? And that might be, hey, moving forward, I want you to take the fifth week off
mm,
and we're going to do family church and we're going to do an extreme thing like that, or we're going to hire SitterTree. Um, that might be, hey, I want you to fill out this favorite forms. Here's why. Think through what's one or two ways that you can show them, hey, I see you. I see that you've been running really hard. I want to get you back on the right path, resourcing you, appreciating you, and helping them see the why.
thanks, Josh. Any final questions? Josh, I have to just say, I've learned so much and love hearing just how many creative resources. Again, we will be sharing so many of the resources as well as the link to the JesusLovesPreschoolers.com, where there's more resources that he didn't even talk about today. And SitterTree is so glad to be offering each of you $50 if you are needing like Easter childcare, would love to help support you. We also believe that it's really important what you're doing, and so would love to support you in your children's ministries in any way. Josh, I want to give you the final word just because you are so pastoral and encouraging, just to be able to speak to your fellow children's ministry pastors and encourage them before we wrap up today's webinar.
Someday there's going to be adults speaking to their kids, and their kids will ask, how did you come to the Lord? How did you come to faith? And they're going to point back to you. You are part of kids' childhoods.
Hmm.
You get to change family trees. You're not just stocking snacks, you're not just filling rooms, you're not just caring for kids, but you are stewarding souls. It's a really, really big deal. And as we run this race, it can be hard to keep our eyes fixed on that. Um, real quick, let me share. There was a little girl who was in my fourth grade small group when I first started to serve in kids ministry like 17 years ago. I officiated her wedding last year.
Wow.
I haven't seen her since sixth grade, but she grew up. And when it came time to say, hey, who do I want to marry us? She called me. And
Mm,
that doesn't just speak to, hey, what I've done, but that speaks to the role that you have is huge.
mm.
You get to be part of kids' formative years and you get to be part of their childhood. They're going to look back on you and be filled with warm fuzzies. That's so cool. Thank you for what you do. It's a really big deal.
Thank you so much, Josh. We appreciate all of the resources and just you sharing your experience and even the stories of the importance that each person on this call makes in the lives of so many children. So we appreciate your time. And for all of you joining us, you will get an email from us just following up with these things. And thank you for taking 30 minutes out today of your schedule. I know you're all so busy at the beginning of the year. But we look forward to sharing these and more resources with you in the future. So, thank you so much. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.